All
right. Well, thank you guys for coming out, and those that are gonna listen to the recording. So Sprague and I just kind of got together and we decided, we're expanding pretty fast, and there's nothing wrong with that. Growth is actually good, but we got to make sure that it's a controlled growth as we move forward. So the way that we can do that is we can take some of the pressure off of Dave and I, and some of you guys already do this, and it's very, very helpful. Like Stretch just put his whole thing together, and it was very seamless and easy for us. So what we're going to start doing is we're going to start educating every affiliate on how to move forward and what we do when we actually plan an event, do a budget, do a registration page, and then do other payments such as PayPal and all that stuff. So we're going to kind of go through, we're going to go through our event planning guide today, which then has our budget in it. And that's kind of what we're going to do for training session 1. And then we'll have training session 2, which will be a lot of the Reg Fox stuff, which that one's going to take pretty much the entire time to just do Reg Fox, because it's a very unique animal, but really cool animal. And then the last one will be any little bits and pieces that we need to square up, such as like PayPal and other things that we have and can do. So if you have questions along the way, make sure you stop us and ask those questions. Okay. And then Dave, do you have anything else to add on that either?
No, I think one, this is our first time doing this, so obviously looking for feedback from you guys on how to make it better as we do future sessions. And 2, all the documents that we're going to review are best practices that they're live documents, and we're continually updating them based on the experiences that we all have. So what you see is, our best shot at how to do this, run classes and run events as smooth as possible based on a lot of reps, but there's always ways to improve. So just know that as we move ahead.
And to counter off that, we learn from our failures and our mistakes. And so if you guys also have anything to add, like something that happened to you at an event or an idea on how we can improve, please, like always, either text us or email us, and we'll work on implementing it as well.
All right. So I think the first place to start is everybody should have the Fire Nuggets Dropbox. And I find it easiest if you download the Dropbox app. So the files are actually in the computer, to quote Zoolander. And if you're trying to work off the web, it makes it more difficult. So if you don't have a Dropbox app, that's something Jeff and I can help you configure. But it should look like this. If you're in Windows, you should have a Dropbox folder, and then these are all the folders within the Fire Nuggets folder. So and there's a couple of advantages to having them on your computer. The biggest advantage is you can edit and save on your computer, and it automatically syncs to the cloud. So these are the main folders you need to run an event. All the budgets for events that are active events are in here. And then kind of resource documents for classes, class flyers, contracts, registrant reports are all in this folder. So if you were going to start a class, the first thing you would do would be come into the Dropbox folder, go into event planning, and then you have your kind of 8-step process here. And step 1 is open and save and open the event planning guide and open and save an event planning checklist. So I think the best way to do this is just to run through kind of creating an event. So I've opened the event planning guide, and it's a template. So when you open it, you can make notes in here, do whatever you want. You're not going to mess up the original document. It creates a whole new document. So don't ever worry about, mashing this up and editing it as you like for the event you're working on. And the other item is this event planning checklist. So I've opened that, and I already started working on it for the event that we're going to use as the demo. So now I've got my first kind of event checklist. So that's specific to the event that I'm going to work on. So I want to go back and I'm going to create a folder for this class. Create a new folder, and I'm titling it 22, and this is Intrepid Leadership. That's the name of the event, and it's a class in California. So now I've got this folder. I'm inside the folder, and I'm going to go ahead and save this instructor checklist to that folder. Oops, there it is. So find 22 Intrepid, there it is. So event planning checklist. So now I've saved my first file into this folder. There it is. And so this checklist is a nice way, whether you actually fill out the checklist or you're making notes somewhere else or you have other documents, but it's a nice way to gather all the information you need to build the budget, to build the registration site, and just think through logistics. So the way that I've used this two ways. One is you can send this to an instructor who's kind of savvy with computers and say, hey, fill in as much of the green as you can, right? And so they'll fill in, you know, everything down to here. And this is going to give you basically all your basic event info. For instructors that are less savvy with computers, I've just gotten on the phone with them or over email and just asked these questions. What's the course title? Send me the description. How many students? What do students need to do ahead of time? Start date, end time, all that good stuff. And again, whether you have it in this format or whether you have it in something like this, you know, that a group sends to you, doesn't matter, right? It's the same information. It's just a checklist for you to know that you've got all the info you need. So this helps minimize the number of conversations, the number of back and forths you have with an instructor group or a cadre. As you move down into the document, it basically mirrors this event planning checklist or this event planning guide. It's just in kind of a checklist format. So you'll see like for there's all these pluses on the side. So if you hit this, it'll expand the venue section, or I'm sorry, the payroll section. So, you know, it's just a good prompt again. You know, if we're paying instructors, have you sent?
Hey guys, I gotta leave.
Okay, but see ya. So, you know, if you're paying instructors, it's got prompts for, did you send or get back a W-9? Have you entered their information on the Google payroll sheet? Have you sent the survey link to all instructors, which collects all their basic information so we get them paid? All kinds of, you know, just important little things to think about. Same with venue, same with advertising and registration. Lots of little just good reminders, all based on best practice. So I'm going to revert back to the event planning guide. So step one, we created a folder in Dropbox. We downloaded the event planning checklist and we saved it to the Dropbox folder. And now the next step is to create a budget document. So in this event planning checklist, there's lots of links to videos that kind of go through a tutorial on how to do different things. There's a video on how to create a budget. But we'll just do a kind of live version here. The other applicable document here is a best practices document. And the reason that's linked here in the budget section is it talks about what kind of things have we learned at events to make sure that they run smoothly, to make sure that instructors are happy, students are happy, and some of those things impact your budget, like you know, not picking a Motel 6 for instructors, things around instructor to student ratios, if you're going to provide meals, some things to think about. So again, all based on real experiences of us either getting something wrong or vice versa. So I will go ahead now, and I'm back into the main Fire Nuggets folder, and I'm going into the budgets folder, and these are all active budgets here. So to create a new budget, there's always, I recommend not saving your own budget template, but always come in here and get the most updated budget template. And this is, again, a living document. It always changes. So when I open this document, again, it's going to create a whole new file. So you can go ahead and save it. I'm going to save it to the budget folder. And so I'm going to title it 22 Intrepid Leadership. All right. So now we've got this budget document, and the budget document is really, really helpful. It's set up, you can use it for a single day class with one instructor, or you can use it for a multi-day conference with 30 instructors. The basic layout is there's 3 tabs on the bottom here. There's the main kind of expenses and income tab. There's a hotel planning tab, and there's a meal planning tab. The hotel and the meal planning tab, when they're completed, feed into specific cells in this main tab. If you're not familiar with Excel, you know, this is something that Jeff and I can absolutely help you with, but it's actually pretty easy to use, and you really can't mess it up. So just get in and start messing around with it, and you'll figure it out. So essentially, the way this is laid out is this side under the red is all the expenses for your event, and then the green is all the income. So registration, donations, or in-kind donations. And then if you scroll down, here's the totals box, and this is a kind of a pretty important summary box. So once you start filling all this in, it'll show you, hey, what's your projected gross expenses, what's your projected income, and what's the net, right? And the net is inclusive of all of the fees that we get charged by the registration company, by the credit card company, and a base $425 fee that we try to charge for every Fire Nuggets event. That just goes to cover expenses. So what you want to see down here is at least that this is at 0. And you know, usually you want to try to make it where you have some kind of, you're turning some kind of profit, because that gives you a little bit of wiggle room for all the unexpected things that happen when you're running an event. Just a quick note on the 425 fee. That's, you know, that's what we have calculated based on the number of events we run that we need to collect to make ends meet with all the administrative stuff that we pay for. This doesn't, nobody in Nuggets is getting paid. This doesn't cover any salaries. It's just all the stuff that we use and share together as a team. So we know that we're not always going to hit this, and we've kind of factored that in. So know that, you know, worst case, you've got kind of that amount of wiggle room in an event, but ideally you want to have $1,000 or $2,000 minimum of wiggle room in an event from our experience. So let's start just filling this in, and that's the best way, I think, to demonstrate how this works. So all the green cells are cells that you can edit. All the white cells are locked because they have formulas behind them. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over to the expenses side, and this is the class name, Intrepid Leadership. You'll see that automatically pops over here for under registration. So each one of these kind of boxes, this group of cells, represents a class. So you can see you can have multiple classes, and then this says if you need more classes, hit the arrow here. Whoops. Hit the arrow. And what happens then, that just opens up a bunch more of these same boxes. So this is really built for like a conference. So if you had, you know, 30 different classes, they'd all show up here. In this case, we only have 1. Again, these are just little prompts in these cells. You can change the names to whatever you want. Honorarium, you know, what's the instructor fee? For this one, it's $10,000. and it's just a one-time fee, right? If you had, let's say, a different scenario and you had a lead instructor and adjunct, we could say, okay, my leads are getting $1,000 each, and my adjuncts are getting 500. I've got 5 leads and 2 adjuncts. You can match it up however you want, or if somebody's getting $1,000 a day and they're here for 5 days, however you want to do it. In this case, though, we've got it's a group coming. They're $10,000, and you'll see that automatically pops over here, and you can see now that this is starting to update over here, our projected cost. The next thing is just figuring out what are the other costs for the events. And in the budget planning or in the event planning document, there are get estimates for hotel and travel. So we've got a hotels.com account. We like, if you can, to use that unless you have some deal on your own. Use that because then that generates free hotel rooms that, you know, whoever's up next, and if there's free hotel rooms in there, we just apply them to that event. If you got your own deal set up and you're getting points somehow, that's fine. And then it also, we have a kayak account, and we use these for just estimating costs. So when I'm going to estimate the costs for hotel and travel, I just go to these sites, and for travel, I know these guys are coming from New York. They're flying into Oakland. They're flying in the night before. They're leaving the last night of class. I want a nonstop flight. And again, I just use this to estimate. If the instructors want us to book flights for them, that's totally fine. We can do that. But oftentimes it's easier just to have folks book their own flights, and we send them a reimbursement check. So I'll just say, okay, I know I wanted to leave after class is over. And let's say, you know, they're good taking a red eye. So now I've got my flights. I know I want them to have seat selection and priority boarding if they want it. Okay, so I'm looking at $228 round trip per person. I usually add 50 to 100 bucks just to be safe. And again, this is just for estimating. So airfare, I'm going to say $330, and I've got 5 instructors coming. Now on hotel, same thing. You know, if you don't know the hotel rates in your area, okay, I got, and it's actually 5 rooms. All right, so I'm just going to look, and I know I can get, you know, a government rate, and okay, looks like, so 164. Again, I'll add 50 bucks, so say 200 bucks a night. So this is where you can either use the hotel planning guide, and I'll show you how to do that real quick, or you can just come in here and say, you know, for I got 200 bucks a night, 5 rooms at $1,000 a night, and they're going to be here for 3 nights. You can do that, or you can come into hotel planning. You can see that it's already put in the class name here, and the dates of the class are 10/26, 10/27, 10/28. I'm sorry, the class is 27/28, but they're going to fly in on the 26th. So I know that on the 26th, I need 5 rooms. On the 27th, I need 5 rooms. And the 28th, they're checking out. All right. If you scroll down, then you just put in what the nightly hotel room rate is. And it does all the calculations for you, and it drops into this hotels row right here. So I'm going to do that for this event. And then the last piece is materials, usually. So obviously, hands-on didactic. Another one, are there registration fees for, like, if you're doing a state class and you're getting a certificate. So for materials, they've told me it's 500 bucks, one-time cost. Okay. So now I've got all my expenses in. If you're running a larger event, you can scroll down, way down, and there's all these different sections. So if you're having on-site people and you're paying them.
All right, guys, I got to leave too.
All right, buddy. Good to see you.
All right, thanks.
See you, Ken.
All right.
There's all these different prompts. So meal planner. Again, you can use the meal planning guide. And all you do for this is, how many people are you feeding a day? Right? And then it automatically drops that into the different breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then all you have to do is put in all right, it's $5 for breakfast, $15 for lunch. Advertising costs, if you have anything crazy, social events, venue costs. So for this event, I am going to provide lunch for everybody, and it's $15 a person. I actually am only expecting 30 people. Okay. So let's say I've got all my expenses in. Now you come over to this side, to the income, and this is the game that you play of estimating how many people you think are going to come to class. I know my max class capacity is 30. How many people do I actually think are going to show up? That is totally based on your call, the training culture in your area, and what you think the kind of buzz is on the street. I think for this event, I'm going to get 20 people. And I always estimate on the conservative side because it's better to do that and set the price a little bit too high than set the price too low or overestimate, and then you end up in the red for your event. It just causes a lot of stress. So now I know my costs, I know how many people. Now I just got to figure out, okay, how do I get to, what do I need to charge to get to zero here? The other thing for this class is I've got an Afg grant that's going to supplement $10,000 for this class. So that knocks $10,000 off what I need to make up. And now I just come in here to the, what do I need to charge? And let's try $100. Okay, so I'm $3,000 away. So maybe it's $200. So you can start to see the game here of what you're doing to get to zero. All right, now I'm in the black by $700. So I'm comfortable with that, or I can back it down a little bit. Whoops. So that seems pretty good to me. So I figured that I need to charge $275 a person for this class. So that's kind of a run through of the budget document. Jeff, do you want to, what am I missing? What else do you want to cover on the budget doc?
No, you pretty much nailed it, man. It's very seamless. It's easy to use. You can kind of morph it into however you want to use it, as long as the numbers all make sense. Yeah, no, I thought you covered it all.
Okay. I guess one last thing I'll cover on this is, let's say that I wanted to have a different cost, right? So I want to have a, this is my internal department cost for members of my department, and then I want to do an external cost. Again, you go through this game of, let's say I want to have, I think I'm going to get 10 people, or I'm paying for 10 people to go to this class for my department. And then I want to send, or open up 10 spots to the outside. So now I could say, hey, I want to charge folks in my department $100. And then what do I need to charge folks in the outside to break even? So all kinds of little things you can do here to help you have a better idea of what you need to charge, which becomes important when you're building the site. So you can see I'm getting closer there.
Did you talk about the carryover at all? That's something that I actually use pretty often. But
Okay, yeah, no, that's a good one. So right here, this is carryover. So oftentimes, as an affiliate, you'll be, all our money from all our different affiliates just goes in a general fund, right? And so it's kind of incumbent on you. Like if I know I made $2,500 from my last event, and that was free and clear after all the fees were paid. This said 425 when I closed the whole event out. So say for this hot forcible entry class, I carried over $2,500. You can put that in and then apply that to this event, right? So now, oh, okay, cool. Now I'm either good, I have a couple grand in reserve, or I can reduce one of these costs. Okay, now I can charge my folks only $50 and I'm still way in the clear. That's a nice little feature. Trying to think if there's anything else that's important on this. I think that's pretty much summary of the budget doc. And then, what I like to do, if you're not super comfortable with the budget doc, is just shoot it to Jeff or to myself. We can review it real quick, give you some feedback, and make sure you're on the right track. Let's see, getting back to, so I think that's kind of where we'll pause for today. So just to recap, you should have now for this event, we've created a budget in the budgets folder. We've created a class folder, and we've got our event planning checklist that's in process, and we've got our budget that's in process. So the next step after this will be to basically build a website and get everything set up in terms of payroll and instructor itinerary, which we'll go over, and logistics for your event, which we'll go over at the next training session. What else, Jeff?
No, that's it. Training session number 2, Dave and I will work on getting set up, and that's when we'll knock out the rest of this stuff and go over Reg Fox stuff. So thank you.
Cool.